Ready, set, sports cards. Thanks for joining us here for the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast here at the Hollywood Rips studio. As always, this one is episode number 12. That's right. Not the last one. That was my bad. But this one is 12. As always, I'm your hostess with the mostest, Mr. Hollywood. To my right, you probably recognize him as well as usual. It's the man who men want to be and ladies wish he wanted. That's Joe Nasty to my right. Accurate, right?
Men need to aspire higher, but sure.
But a lot of stories, as usual, going on in the sports and sports card world over the past week. Panini destroyed the Downtown insert. Team USA said au revoir to France in the gold medal game at the Olympics. And the baseball MLB division races are getting really tight. Yep. But let's start this week with our hobby news segment. We're going to start, of course, with, we have a couple things in hobby news, but we're going to start with Panini and their accidental slip-up where 20-plus Downtown super short print inserts were found inside of certain first-off-the-line boxes. We'll show you a picture on your screen now. This is what Backyard Breaks pulled on, I believe it was release day for 2023 Donruss Optic. They pulled 24 Downtowns out of one case. Of course, you all probably know you're supposed to pull one out of an entire case. They pulled 24. And then what did they do the next day? They followed it up by doing this, which is literally the exact same thing, pulling 20-plus Downtowns again. Panini was, and you can even see in the pictures that there were one-of-ones that were pulled. There were Downtown one-of-ones. There were gold Downtowns. There was numbered Downtowns. Panini put out a statement earlier this week. It said, and we'll put this on the screen as well, but it said, earlier this week we became aware of a manufacturing issue with First Off the Line and a collation issue related to the Downtown insert after conducting a 72-hour on-site audit at a new print manufacturer. So they're blaming the new print manufacturer. Oh, yeah. We found that there was an error during manufacturing. The audit revealed that this issue was isolated, affecting a small number of FOTL cases where extra content was included in some, but there was no shortage of any content in the First Off the Line boxes sold. The rest, and listen to this, the rest of the Donruss Football Optic manufacturing and pack out was normal and unaffected. Okay. How on earth could the pack out be normal and unaffected if you were putting 24 Downtowns into certain cases and some of them are numbered? It's literally not possible for it to affect the rest of the collation, the rest of the dispersion of how these cards are being sent out. What are your thoughts on Panini's latest blunder?
You good?
I'm pissed.
You're hot.
I'm pissed. Downtowns were great. Now they suck.
My first thought is I was reading the statement off your computer screen. Did they use the wrong affecting? An E instead of an A?
Where?
Right here, isolated affecting. Shouldn't it be affecting? Or am I wrong? I might be
wrong. They did also confuse effect with an E with effect with an A.
So the whole every part of their company right now and their let's just say their ability to double check and make sure things are correct or not going so hot. It obviously affects the value. It affects your
affects with an A. With an
right. It just is a knock against something that you need to put a lot of trust in, because essentially you're getting a piece of cardboard with a number on it, this, that, whatever, and you're trusting that, yeah, this is one of one. And now, if I were to pull one of these, I wouldn't trust it so much. So yeah.
Well, I think the one-of-ones are one-of-ones, right?
But it's just you don't feel so good about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 20, if you get one of these error cases, let's say, and you have 24 shots to pull a one-of-one when it should have been one,
right?
That affects the rest of the product. There's no way around that.
Which effect?
Right?
Yeah, I know.
So we'll wait and see, and we'll talk more about these Downtowns in a later part of our show. But we're going to move on to Hobby News Segment 2, which involves Topps Chrome Basketball. Pre-orders were released last Monday on their website. This is the first time Topps has had a basketball product in a decade. Obviously, Fanatics and Topps will have the licenses in the next couple years, but it sold out. I think it was like $280 a box or something.
Wow.
It was just way less than Panini. Like Panini is charging like closer to $1,000 for a Prism hobby box. So this was $280 on the site. It was like $3,300 for a case of 12 of these. It sold out immediately, but what else happened when they went on sale? Because I was on there trying to pre-order it as well. The site crashed for like an hour. They could not handle the traffic. I was sitting on like the checkout screen with like the rainbow wheel of death spinning.
Was that at least in your cart?
On my payment screen. I was paying for it.
Oh, that's tough.
And it hung for 45 minutes trying to pay for it.
Really?
And eventually I got so annoyed that I just pressed refresh and then it was like, hey, we're sold out.
Oh.
So, but these are unlicensed cards.
That sucks.
So we're going to show some of them on the screen. They're not the best looking cards. Obviously you have no team logos. So basically, you can see the one of, I think the Wemby Superfractor actually looks fine because the Spurs logo on his jersey is not facing the camera.
Right.
But you look at the Jason Tatum kind of I see
It says Rock Stars.
Rock Stars card, and he just has that white jersey with a 0 on it, and there's no, it's unlicensed. They're already reselling for $480 a box on Dave & Adams. I want to talk about this from the point of we need a lottery system in terms of some of these pre-orders and pre-sales, because resellers just have 10, 20 different computers open on 10 different accounts and they max out the orders on every single one and it's just gone like that. I think we need to have a lottery system. I think it's cool that Topps Chrome is coming back. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, my thoughts were mostly on the logo-less kind of look of it too. Because it does look, the LaMelo Ball one looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
But to me, it kind of underscores an issue I have with NBA fandom as it is, because you're seeing it. People don't really care. It's tough to call it an issue, but what I've noticed, and this has been developing for the last 10 years or so, basketball fans are becoming more fans of players. And it's become a player-driven league, and they're less fans of teams. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan, but I think this does sort of reflect that. The team logos, all that, doesn't really matter. You have people who are more Tatum stans buying this card as opposed to, again, like Victor Wembanyama stans. So,
see that.
And I noticed this a lot as like the end of the Kobe era, which is kind of weird to say with the Lakers, because there was a lot of people interested in the Kobe Bryant end of his career, but not as Laker fans. They were Kobe Bryant fans. And I think we see that a lot with LeBron, especially as a guy who's bounced around a bunch of teams in his career, right? So I think the logo-less thing just doesn't really matter, because I think fans are fans of players more than they are franchises, for the most part.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the logos matter in terms of resale value, because people want licensed cards. They want the logos, obviously, because they just look better.
It does.
But I do agree with you in the idea that people, at the end of the day, in a lot of cases now, are following players more than they are following teams like in the past. Obviously, Kobe was a little bit of a different scenario.
Yeah.
But
I
hear what you're saying. But we're going to move to our Olympic update. Of course, the USA, Team USA, won the gold medal in men's basketball. They defeated Victor Wembanyama in France. This guy won Olympics MVP. That is LeBron James there. The U.S. men won the 4x100 relay without Noah Lyles, I believe. He had COVID, right?
He tested positive.
Yeah, he had COVID. And the women also won the gold in basketball, although came very close to going to overtime there, but didn't quite happen. Any wrap-up thoughts on the Olympics from you?
Seemed like a pretty overall great Olympics, didn't it?
It was great.
A lot of really memorable moments, starting with the gymnastics earlier in the campaign. A lot of memorable memes, a lot of great videos. What Curry and LeBron and Durant did towards the end of the basketball tournament was simply special.
Those last 4 possessions from Curry were
unbelievable.
It was crazy.
Truly. The track and field was great. Even this truly a disgrace to the Olympics. Australian breakdancer created memories for us.
Yeah, we all watched that.
We saw it. There's something sinister going on there for a woman that has a PhD in human movement. So, look, we are coming to you live from Los Angeles. I'm going to be holding a lot of civic pride in about 4 years.
Yep.
And it's going to be pretty tough to follow these Parisian Olympics. The scenery was amazing. The games, the competition was fantastic. It's not even finished yet with this Jordan Childs lawsuit nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
So this was a overall, I loved the opening ceremony. Didn't get a chance to really catch a lot of the closing. But from start to up until the finish, it provided a lot.
Yeah, it was a very beautiful closing ceremony as well.
We'll see you all in 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll come to you live in 4 years.
We'll be live broadcasting
Who
for
knows?
sure.
But we're going to move to our MLB update now. And what a man, these MLB races, these division races are getting so tight.
Yeah, wild card's been tight all year.
The Orioles and the Yankees are still locked in a tie atop the AL East. Cleveland is now up 3.5 games in the Central. The Astros and the Mariners are tied atop the AL West. Philly is 7.5 up. Milwaukee 7.5 up. We're not really necessarily worried about those, although the Phillies have not been playing good baseball, generally speaking. And the Dodgers have won 3 in a row, but so have the Diamondbacks. So they remain 3.5 up on both the Diamondbacks and the Padres. So a lot going on in baseball. I think the Dodgers we're going to start to hit this kind of train for the Dodgers where guys are going to start coming back. Mookie is coming back
Tomorrow.
Reportedly,
yes.
Reportedly. Muncy apparently is feeling better, and he will be back as well.
He's on a rehab assignment in OKC.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. Yamamoto is another guy who will be eventually on the way back. The only one which was unfortunate was Gratterall.
Yeah.
Literally made a guy's been on the shelf the whole year and pulls a hamstring
True. Yeah, his first inning back.
8 pitches in or something crazy. But what are your thoughts on the division race?
4 out of
races.
6. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 out of 6 that are tight, right?
Crazy.
And like I said, a wild card's been tighter than spandex all season long.
Oh, yeah.
The trades are taking effect. Jack Flaherty has been very effective since he's donned Dodger blue. I saw Randy Arozarena today for the Mariners making plays, making a diving play, having an effect with their offense. So, yeah, this is what baseball wanted when they added the extra wild cards. More teams are in it. It is giving them an opportunity to compete at the trade deadline, and it's now affecting the division races. The Dodgers, like you said, came back to the pack, and yet they're tied for the best record in the National League. Yeah. Which tells you a lot, one, of how poor they've been since since June, but also, you didn't talk about the Padres, but they had just won 7 in a row before losing today.
Right.
Arizona is just as hot. So, a lot of fans here in Southern California have been like, well, if only they had close races heading into the playoffs, maybe they'd be more ready to go. All of a sudden, I don't think that's necessarily what people want.
Yeah, the blood is definitely boiling in the NL West at this point. It kind of seemed like a matter of time, though. I mean, the NL West has been so good the last few years in terms of depth. But we're going to move into our card market update, just our general card market update.
Do it.
Of the week. The SCI Top 500 index was down 0.4%, led by the 1986 Fleer Jordan in a PSA 9, which had a sale of $14,000 in the past week. That card usually sells for $18,500, so I'm not sure if that was actually paid for, or if that was a legit sale, or if it was just so horribly off-centered but still got a 9. I don't know what the deal with that was. But moving to the baseball diamond, 2018 to 2020 cards were pretty flat. 2010 to 2017 up 2.2%. 2000 to 2009 cards down 2%, with the 90s down 0.3%. We're talking 80s prime junk wax now. That was up 0.5%. I did a couple videos about prime 80s junk wax. We chased Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards the past couple weeks on our channel. We did finally hit one. But 60s and 70s down 1.4%, and 40s and 50s rising to the tune of 2% this week. Changing gears to the hardwood, basketball, 2018 to 2020 was up 1.1%. 2010 to 2017, up 0.5%. 2000 to 2009, down 0.6%, with the 90s up 0.1%. The 1980s was actually up big, 4.3%, which is weird because that Jordan 86 Fleer was sold for $4,000 less than it normally sells for.
I think a lot of people think about the Dream Team, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
79 and older, up 0.9%. 86 Fleer was flat despite that this week. Let's take a look at the gridiron. Football is on the way back very soon. We are just about a month away.
Yeah, probably give or take. I don't know the exact start date.
Yeah, something like that. But 18 to 20 was up 2.3%. 2010 to 17, up 1.1%. 2000 to 2009, down 4.8%. 90s and 80s, 0.1 and down 0.1 and up 0.4 respectively. 70s and older was 70 and older. 70s and older was flat. And the 2020 Prism rookie cards were up 10.9%. That is a big indicator that people are buying into the lows of Joe Burrow. They're buying into the lows of Tua Tagovailoa. They're buying
Justin Herbert.
They're buying Justin Herbert. All these guys that have been down for the most part. But we're going to skip the hockey update this week because we're just really well into the offseason at this point. And we're going to go into so we're going to start and just jump right into our hot cards of the week. Our first one is not a surprise. It is the 2020 Bowman Chrome First Prospect Autograph of Bobby Witt Jr. in a PSA 9. This card is up 23.1% over the past week. $800 was the last sale of the card. It was closer to $700 about a week ago. This was a $300 card at the start of the season. What has Bobby Witt done really since the All-Star break over the past month? He's gone 40 for 93 with 7 homers, 22 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and a 476 OBP. On the season, that makes he has a 346 average, 22 homers, 84 RBIs, 25 stolen bases, and a 392 OBP. A little bit of a low OBP considering his average is 346, but the guy just doesn't really walk. Yeah. But we're gonna show you guys some of his advanced metrics, and how this works is basically, if you see red on this chart, that means good. And the higher the number, 100 is the best, right? Look at Bobby Witt's MLB percentile rankings. He is 98th or 90th percentile or higher in virtually every category, minus chase rate, walk rate, whiff rate. This dude is, if Aaron Judge wasn't going to hit 65 home runs this year, Bobby Witt Jr. would be an AL MVP, I would say 8 years out of 10 with this type of season. I think his cards, we do have a pretty sick Bobby Witt Jr. card here. This is Bobby Witt Jr.'s Platinum 1/1 rookie autograph right here. That is a big mama. What are your thoughts on Bobby Witt Jr.? And what do you think of this card at $800 in a PSA 9? Yeah,
so Bobby Witt, and I just saw this comparison today on MLB Network. In 2012, Mike Trout put together an astoundingly historic year, but lost the MVP to Miguel Cabrera, who hit for the Triple Crown. Now, also, Mike Trout was on a very disappointing Angels team that had Mike Pujols. You know, classic Mike Pujols, but it was that era of Angels teams that just wasn't getting it done.
Right.
So his numbers are as good, if not better, than Mike Trout in 2012, which was an unbelievable season. But that being said, I'm currently out on Bobby Witt.
Interesting.
So you mentioned it to me before. His home versus away splits are insane. And it's like, you jokingly will say, like, are the Royals cheating? But when you look at the splits, it's not even really a joke.
It's not close.
And it's the walks and strikeouts mostly for me. And the at-bat, like, this is not even a small sample size. His at-bats are about 13 off from home and away. He's got about 13, give or take, more at-bats at home than he does on the road.
Equal sample size for the most part.
His K rate is 10 percentage points higher on the road than it is at home. His walk rate is astronomical, 9.3, and this was about late July, so things really haven't changed. 9.3 walk rate at home as opposed to basically 4 on the road.
We'll, by the way, we'll throw this chart up on the screen so that you can see it.
But look at the batting average. At home, 414. Batting average on the road is a respectable 270, but 414 isn't even Hall of Fame. That's video game numbers. And the OPS is what really gets me. A 1.206 OPS at home, a 744 OPS on the road. 744 is basically just a good player. 1.2 OPS is better than an all-star.
That's like Barry Bonds.
Beyond.
Steroid era.
So, yeah, at the moment, I'm out on Bobby Witt. He's talented. You're not a bad player to get drafted that high and to, like, you still have to put the bat on the ball. But, like, he's not getting my MVP vote at the moment. Because, like, that's one thing to have home road splits.
So what are you inferring?
Oh, he's a cheater. No, I mean, look, it's like...
No, it's crazy. And the other thing that you didn't mention was this Royals team, I think, won 56 games last year.
Right.
Something like that.
And he was still good.
Something like that. They won like 50 or 60 games last year. It was something like that. And what were the Royals' big off-season acquisitions? Exactly.
Seth Lugo.
Yeah, Seth Lugo's been good. Seth Lugo's been good.
But not a hitter.
But not a hitter. But how does that change this team from being essentially, I'm not going to call them White Sox-esque because that's a whole nother level.
No.
But you go from winning 50 games to competing for your division by adding no one. And then, your best player hits over 400 at home.
And they already have 65 wins.
Yeah, they have more wins than they had last year. I'm not out on Bobby Witt in terms of talent. I will say, I think it's really fishy. I think the numbers are fishy. There's something going on there. I can't tell you what it is. So if it's me, I'm not buying it either, just because I don't know what's going to happen. Those numbers they seem too far apart to merit any sort of safety in buying that card.
On a terms of fishiness, is it trout fishy, or is it the fountains at Kauffman Stadium fish? There's something fishy. I don't know if it's...
yeah. But we're going to move to our second hot card of the week, and it's the 2024 Topps Chrome Jackson Holliday Radiating Rookies in raw condition. We could have taken any Holliday card, really, but I just liked how the Radiating Rookies card looks. It's such a cool card. It's up 28.3% to $301 over the past week. It was $240 a week ago, even less than that the week before. He's been recalled to the show, obviously, and over the last 2 weeks, he's gone 9 for 32. I believe he hit a 5th homer, did he?
Today? I'll have to double check, but the numbers are still ridiculous.
Well, he's gone, as of when I compiled the stats the other day, 9 for 32 with 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and a 343 OBP. Mm-hmm. This dude is looking so much more comfortable at the plate. When you watch him swing the bat, I mean, you just do not think he's 20 years old. That swing is gorgeous. And he's still striking out a little bit, but, he's 20. He can learn. Not as much. Can still learn to work the count a little more. Yeah. But there's a reason this guy was the number 1 prospect in baseball and probably the most touted prospect in the last since
Gunnar Henderson.
Since his teammate like a year ago. But I still think this card looks really good. This Radiating Rookies card looks good, and it's kind of like with the yellow and the orange. It's like kind of a team color match looking card at $300. I'm not saying buy it, but I don't think it's a bad buy. Jackson Holliday, I've always said he needs to grow into the power. It looks like the power is a-coming.
Oh, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this Jackson Holliday Radiating Rookies card? Are you buying it? How are you liking what you're seeing in terms of his development?
I was never out on him. I mean, he's 20 years old. has a great coach. Like, his brother Ethan's also going to be a #1 pick when the time comes.
His brother Ethan supposedly is better.
Yeah, that's the report.
Crazy.
4 homers in his last 6 games entering today. Youngest player in AL history to hit a homer in 3 straight games, so he's setting history. Did have elbow inflammation and hit the shelf a bit when he went back down to the minors, so hopefully that was the reasoning behind what was also just a lackluster amount of time in the minors, because he wasn't doing great either. But the biggest thing in what he's doing, and I mentioned the strikeouts as you were setting this up, he's chasing less. He's been much better in the strike zone, and when he swings, he doesn't swing and miss as much. And when he does make contact, it's with authority, which is why I really go back to that elbow inflammation issue. 14 of the 20 batted balls that he's hit since his recall have been deemed a hard hit ball, which I believe is 95 miles per hour and higher. So 14 out of 20 balls he's put in play have been hard hit balls. He is crushing the baseball. And the thing I was really encouraged by when I read the Fangraphs article is that all 4 of those home runs I just referenced, all on different pitches. 4 different types of pitches.
Interesting.
On 4 home runs. Yeah, so he's not sitting fastball, he's not sitting breaking ball.
Right.
He's adjusting and slugging.
Yeah. I like the kid. I really do. And even when he swings, I mean, look, this dude hit a grand slam like almost out of the stadium. Like, and these home runs are not cheap shots. They're not into the first row. All of his homers, for the most part, have been shots, like well into the stands. And so if you had any questions about power, which is like, I had questions about his power. He hit 20 homers in the span of like hundreds of games. Well, no, it wasn't hundreds of games in the minors. But
hundreds of at-bats.
Hundreds of at-bats, 20 homers in the minors. And here we have him hitting 4 in 6 games. So Jackson Holliday on the way up. We do have some honorable mentions. We'll throw them on the screen. We're not going to talk about them, but Mason Miller, his 2021 Bowman Draft first chrome autograph and a PSA 10, that is up 104%.
For a reliever.
To $250. He just came off the DL as well. They did not trade him at the deadline, which was
crazy.
Kind of shocking, although he did break his hand right before it by hitting something in anger, which is very smart.
Detail.
Patrick Mahomes, his 2017 Prism Silver in raw condition was up 94% somehow to $777.
Must be football season.
Felnin Celestin, his 2023 Bowman Chrome first autograph, PSA 10, was up 63% to $225. That is the Seattle Mariners prospect. And Tyler Fitzgerald, his 2024 Topps Golden Mirror Image variation was up 53% to $101 over the past month. Tyler Fitzgerald, I just want to spend 10 seconds on Tyler Fitzgerald. This dude is insane.
Yeah.
Like insane what he has been doing the past month. He has, he plays the infield, he plays the outfield, he hits bombs, he steals bases. He's hitting guys hitting like 400, or OBP is like 400. I mean, the dude is just ridiculous.
It's a home run like every day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But we're gonna shift gears now from hot to cold, good to bad, because for every Captain Will Turner of the Flying Dutchman, there's a Davy Jones. And for every Machamp with 4 arms to smack you in the face, there's a Paris who literally has like 2 mushrooms growing on the back of him. Have you ever noticed that? Like, what's up with that?
That's gross.
But these are our cold cards of the week, starting with all 2023 Donruss Optic Downtowns. And they haven't necessarily been super cold, like they're not down like 50% like you might think, but I'm putting them in the cold cards because they should be in the cold cards because they should go down in price. We'll give you one example, the 2023 Donruss Optic Downtown of Will Levis, which was down about 6% so far this week. It's $817, down from $850 plus a week ago. Obviously the product just came out, so we expect things to come down a little bit, generally speaking, but really, with this news of what they did with the downtowns, honestly, all of the 2023 downtowns should be going down in value, and they should be worth less. And yes, I think this hurts downtowns in general. Panini has slowly pumped up the number of downtowns that have gone into this product over the past 4 or 5 years since COVID. They've like been sneakily escalating that amount. For them to come out and say that this did not affect the population in the normal release is absolutely ridiculous. It 100% affects it. In my opinion, at this point, if you want Panini insert, the Kaboom is king. Pop counts are way lower than Downtowns. I know they're way more expensive, but you want the Kaboom over the Downtown. What are your thoughts on cold Downtowns this week and where they're headed in the future? For 2023, I think we can assume they're going to slowly trickle down.
Yeah,
the question is, what happens to 2022, 21, 20?
I would imagine it doesn't really affect the previous years because we've seen that like that was just sort of normal.
And those pop counts they are what they are.
Yeah, like.
And you know there wasn't a scandal with it.
These are cool cards, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they are. Of course. Yeah. This is probably, honestly, the most popular insert card of any of them is the Downtown, because it's actually affordable. Like, you know, obviously, if you want the biggest guy, it's going to cost a couple grand for like a CJ Stroud. But
of course.
Sorry, continue.
No, I think the interesting thing will be, yes, what happens over the course of this year and as we progress through the preseason, and then how do they rectify it for the 2025 season? I hate to waste the little time we have on this earth and look ahead to another year, but that's going to be a big deal. Like, how, in what way do they fix this? Because what's been done is done now at this point. You have to apologize. You have to do bad typos in your tweets and bad grammar, but you got to make it right next year, and then you can kind of set your way the rest of the time, or maybe even like a mid-season, like, hey, our bad, like here's another set. That could be good too.
Yeah, you got to make it. Certainly they got to make it right. But Panini releasing a statement like that, which is so obviously not the truth, is just, it's just not a good look. And you know, I'm one of those people that says that type of statement where it's so obviously and blatantly a lie. I think Panini needs to be punched in the mouth a little bit for it. I hope these cards deteriorate quickly in the 2023 versions of them, honestly, because you can't make a mistake like that. Sure. You just can't. Yeah. Moving on to our second cold card of the week. It's the 2020 Bowman Chrome first autograph of Anthony Volpe, Yankees shortstop, in a PSA 10. That was down 21.5% over the past 60 days. That was, it is now a $510 card. It was $650 about just 60 days ago. Starting the season, there were a few that sold even more than that. But what has he done in 2024? He has a 254 average, 11 homers, 45 RBIs, 20 steals. He has a 698 OPS. So by no means has it been, that was from the last one. By no means has it been a bad season.
No.
It has been a pretty average season, let's be honest. We're going to show you another one of those advanced metric stats from Baseball Savant. You're looking at it now on your screen, and you can see that Anthony Volpe is fielding-wise and base running-wise, he is every bit deserving of being the starting shortstop for the New York Yankees.
Right.
For the most part. But let's take a look at his batting. Remember how we told you that red is good and that numbers as close to 100 are good? Well,
I don't see any.
He has one number that's higher than 50, than 56. And it is his whiff percentage is a 62, and it's kind of like a grayish red, maybe. But everything else, every single other offensive statistical category, he is well below MLB averages. I am just, to be honest with you, even at $510, I'm not buying Anthony Volpe, because at the end of the day, you need to offensively be able to slug it in order to have value. And so I'm not buying Volpe. It's just, I think, and even his average at 252, I feel like that he's had some luck to get to that. So I mean, what do you think about Volpe? It just hasn't looked consistently right at the plate.
Well, the numbers bear that out.
And
he is lucky to get to 252 because
Yeah,
his expected batting average
right.
is 246.
Expected batting average 246, and it's not like he doesn't have any other big bats in the lineup to like protect him or something,
No, of course not.
right?
My thing is like, you see the savant numbers right there. Like, he is elite at base running because he's fast as you know what.
Yeah.
And he's a very good fielder, although it says his arm strength is in the 25th percentile.
Yeah, not great.
I'm not a big fan in saying someone's greatest strength is just speed. Because at the end of the day, that deteriorates. And I know it's a new game, and I know they made the bases bigger, and that pumps up the stolen base numbers and the excitement level. But you need to bring a lot more than just speed to a game. I'd rather you were athletic than you were just fast.
Yeah.
And the thing that really jumps out to me is, we were just talking about Jackson Holliday, right? Hard hit percentage. He's not hitting the ball hard at all.
No.
He's not getting the ball in the air as he should by hitting the ball hard. And he's barely even getting the ball on the barrel. Right. 16% barrel percentage is not good. And it actually plays with the 12th percentile bat speed. His hands are not as fast as his feet, which means that maybe his pitch recognition is not very good, or the athleticism is all waist down. This was supposed to be the guy that's going to be their shortstop for the next decade. We'll see. He's getting to the balls, but can he really throw guys out?
People thought he was the next Jeter.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but like that was sort of the expectation.
That was the expectation.
He's from what, like Jersey or
be honest.
somewhere in upstate New York? He's from the area. Grew up a Yankees fan.
But like you said, who is Anthony Volpe without speed in 10 years? And as of what I'm seeing right now, he is not someone that the Yankees of all teams would want starting at shortstop.
If Volpe hurts his hamstring, then what's his value?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But we're going to move into our last segment of the show, and that is, of course, our Invest segment. And on Invest this week, we're going to look at the 2024 Topps Chrome, another radiating rookies of Yoshinobu, Dodgers starter Yoshinobu Yamamoto in raw condition. That card, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Actually, I do have the numbers. I just need to pull them up really quick. I know they're on your screen now. I just didn't have it in front of me. But yeah, the last sale was $76. That is down 72.6% over the past month. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I actually pulled this card out of Topps Chrome. And I sold it for $275, like less than 2 weeks ago. And now it's a $76 card. He was 6-2 with a 2.92 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP, and that included him like not getting an out against the Padres at the
second game of the year.
At the beginning of the year. In Japan, he never had an ERA higher than like 1.8, like ever. His WHIP was closer to 0.9 than it was 1. Obviously, he won 3 Sawamura awards, and look, the Dodgers signed him to 12 years, $325 million. The Mets offered 12 years, $325 million. The Phillies apparently offered the most of everyone, so you know their offer was even bigger than that. The Yankees offered 10 and $300, and you look at his advanced stats, you're seeing a whole lot of red, and this is a guy that's just transitioning to the majors for the first time. I think Yamamoto is going to be an absolute stud. There's a reason why these huge market teams offered him huge money. And I think it's $76. This is a card that you've got to pick up, in my opinion, in addition to the fact that the card just looks really cool. But what do you think of Yoshi Yamamoto? Hopefully he'll come back soon for the Dodgers. They are in dire need of starting pitching.
Yeah, so his timeline is this. He's going to throw a bullpen Tuesday, as we record this on Sunday, the 11th. He's going to throw to live hitters. He's expected to throw to live hitters in St. Louis next weekend and then go on rehab starts. So if all things go well, he's probably about 3 weeks away due to having to recover from each throwing session and give or take probably 2 to 3 rehab starts out in OKC. So that's just the timeline when you can expect to see him playing again. In terms of that card value, that's a steal. Look, the guy, so you read the numbers. An ERA under 3, considering the fact that he was abysmal in his first ever start, and you said didn't get out of the first inning, in a start that, mind you, was in the middle of spring training. in Korea,
Right.
in weird circumstances, for a guy who had never faced Major League hitting before, yeah, he's pretty good. And not to mention the fact that it was all coming together right there as he got hurt. Most notably, his start in the Bronx on June 7th. 7 innings, no runs, 7 strikeouts. Now, the thing that stood out from that game is that the velocity was up. He was pumped up. He was juiced up, not in a steroids way, but he was like psyched to be there. And lo and behold, his very next start, he had to leave early with the rotator cuff issue. Coincidence? Probably not, but...
Yeah. I think if you can pick that radiating rookies card up for, say, $70 as it is now, and you can...
It's a steal.
And you can gem one of them and send it to PSA and get a PSA 10, you're making $100 like that, like that, maybe $150 like that, because I don't think there are any PSA 10s yet in the pop count. So I think that card's a buy.
I think it was his start on June 1st where he like shut down the Rockies also.
Yeah.
And the best tweet I've seen about him was like, turns out the guy that every single team wanted to pay $300 million to, he might actually be pretty good.
Might actually be decent. Yeah. Everyone just wanted to hate on him because he was obviously just joining the evil empire.
And it's what they don't know.
The evil empire that is the LA Dodgers. But yes, 5 teams wanted to give him $300+ million. There's a reason for that. You can now get his radiating rookies for $76. Maybe it's less by tomorrow. Who knows?
Could be.
But just like that, we made it to the end of this week's podcast. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you watching. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to comment on the video down below. We'd love to talk to you guys. We do try to get back to you as much as we can. And of course, we appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to enable notifications so you know when our next episode airs. So until the next time we see you, which probably will be next week, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty. Mr. Hollywood.
Me. Yeah. Me? The old Joe Nasty? Yeah.
Out.